welcome to X Games 2013 Foz de Iguaçu. We're here for the GoPro BMX Big Air Final. There's an epic shot of the Iguaçu Falls. It's day 2 of 4 out here for X Games Brazil, and that was none other than Douglas Leite, who's the only Brazilian rider in the lineup out of all 4 BMX events we've got out here this weekend. There's your starting lineup. Jimmy Coleman here in the booth alongside Dennis McCoy. And well, Dennis, it's all about Big Air out here tonight, and of the guys in the lineup, only 3 of them have ever taken a gold medal home in this event in the last 7 years.
That is true, but this field is stacked. Anyone's capable of winning.
Now, I mentioned that he's the only Brazilian rider in the lineup out of all 4 BMX events out here this weekend. He's also the first one to drop out here tonight in GoPro BMX Big Air. It's his first ever X Games appearance, and we are underway.
Just like that, here we go. And he is, oh, no stranger to going huge, starting with a big backflip, and here's where he gets it. Massive air, giant no-hander.
Now, the way the format works, there's 8 riders in the lineup. They're going to get 4 runs each. It's the best run that counts, and as you mentioned, Dennis, this gentleman right here, he's known for going big, and he's done just that in his first run.
Yeah, he's front flipping the gap there, and you want to land with good speed. That wasn't a crazy high front flip, but he carries the speed through, and his thing's going huge. He's won a couple high air comps in Rio, and that was big.
I mean, not a bad way to start off your first ever X Games appearance. It's tough being the first guy out of the gate no matter what.
But I think he's going to be in first place.
And, well, yeah, that's the beauty of being the first guy in. You're in
there
first.
You go.
So 5 judges here tonight. They're judging on a 100-point scale. The way it works, we drop the high and the low scores, average the 3 remaining together. But again, it's the best run that counts out here at GoPro BMX Big Air. But coming up next, this is Colton Satterfield.
Whoa, 360, no-handed 360 backflip. Got a little over-rotated there, but held on to it. Oh, yes!
Wow, a big run there for Colton Satterfield. Puts that double whip down perfectly. Feather touch on the back tire there coming down the quarter pipe. That thing's 27 feet tall, by the way.
Yeah, 27-foot tall quarter pipe, 56 feet wide. Check it out. No-handed 360 backflip. It's first done by Dave Mira in one of these big air events at X Games a few years back. But look at that. Oh, that was more over-rotated both ways, rotation and flip. Almost manualed out of it, but hey, he pulled it. Pulled a big trick on the quarter pipe, and it's got to feel good to get a run under your belt.
See what the judges think of Colton Satterfield here in his first of 4 runs. The high mark to beat right now, Mr. Leite with an 82.33, so Colton moves to the top of things with an 86.33, but a great way to start off this GoPro BMX Big Air Final. 2 big runs right out of the gate, but we talked about Big Air earlier with Douglas, and this gentleman right here, he's known for Big Air as well. As a matter of fact, he has the highest Big Air, highest air measured in a Big Air competition at the X Games.
And the highest in practice as well, which he went a little higher in practice.
Morgan Wade in for his first of 40 with a big Superman C grab.
Big, beautiful, full extension, and yes!
Whoa!
To me, that is what it's about. You go huge, you get stylish. I mean, it's a one-handed invert. It probably won't score high in the difficulty area, but
it's 19 feet.
It was huge. It was totally extended. Trust me, I do that trick on vert, and it feels unbelievable. I don't do it as tweaked as this, and I'm amazed by that.
Look at how he just flattens himself. I mean, that's picture perfect right there.
Yeah, he's got to feel good too. We've had 3 runs and everybody stayed on. That's good to see.
So, I mean, height's obviously a big part of the game, but you mentioned this. It's not going to score high in the difficulty factor. You want to have a nice mix of both. We'll see what the judges think here of Morgan Wade.
Yeah, this is the trickiest event to judge, in my opinion, because you've only got 1 jump and 1 air. But they appreciated that. That's very cool. He's jumped up to first place with an 89. He was perfect execution on that. That goes a long ways with the judges.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more extended than that on that Superman seat grab, and he's sitting in the top spot now with an 89 flat. Coming up right now, he's a silver medalist from 2011 X Games LA BMX Big Air. This is Vince Byron.
Oh my goodness, slips the pedal.
Hangs on.
Get it back on. Massive flare. It's an opposite downside whip 360.
It was kind of tough to see from that camera angle.
And he crashed this a number of times in practice. So to come out swinging and say, hey, first run I'm going to pull what I was having trouble with in practice, says a lot about his mindset. Oh, wow. He's got a double in there. And
watch the
check
feet.
the grabbing the crank arm, barely. Wow.
It looked like his feet slipped off the pedals at real-time speed, but there it doesn't.
Yeah.
He just had to shift the crank arms a little bit.
Hey, it was not the cleanest run ever, but hey, it is big tricks, and he pulled it. We're 4 for 4 on guys not, we like to say keeping it rubber side down.
Yeah, I was going to say the consistency factor here in the opening half of round number 1 of 4 has been very high. The top mark to beat an 89 by Morgan Wade, but now Vince with an 89.66. That's going to put him on the top of the leaderboard. But here we go with Chad Kagy. The story with him, Chad's got 2 gold medals in this event from years past, but he's had no practice. It took him 52 hours to get here due to some flight delays.
Uh-oh. I laughed because you talk about a guy that takes 52 hours to get here and he starts right off with like a cliffhanger backflip.
Well, that's a brand new one for Chad right there, the cliffhanger backflip. He's spent a lot of time on the Nitro Circus Tour, learned the cliffhanger backflip, tried to throw it here in his first run. So let's check in right now with the 3rd member of our crew, Jordan Whitley, and we'll see how Chad's feeling right now. Jordan?
Well, I just spoke to Chad before he took that run. He said that 52 hours of travel on top of 6 just trying to get to the event last night. He said he was so mad he almost turned around and went home, but he decided to cool off, take it out on the ramp tonight, and that's what we're seeing so far.
Well, if you've ever been a victim of flight delays, it's no party. And I was actually talking to him about 2 days ago, and he was stuck at Washington, D.C., and that's frustrating. When you come all the way down here, you don't get any practice. But again, it's the best of 4 runs. And coming up now, though, of the 3 guys we said that have ever gold medaled in the 7-year history of this event, this guy's got 3 of them. It's Kevin Robinson.
Oh, look at Kevin. They're traveling way sideways laterally on that flip so they can come over and use the width of the ramp. Massive air.
Maybe Kevin not feeling it over the gap there.
Something went a little off for him. I know that's not the run that he would have had planned, but if you watch Kevin, it's interesting. He'll take off from one side of the ramp and he'll travel his flip laterally sideways. It's like going in with more speed than you normally would and traveling further than you would, and that's gonna give him more speed hitting the quarter pipe to go huge.
And he had a rough go out there, hit his head a couple of times last year, walked away with the bronze medal, so was looking for something to prove here this year. Speaking of looking for something to prove, Zack Warden got a taste of the podium last year, got a silver medal, and brings a brand new trick to the party here this year in Brazil. And this is a couple of shots that we're trying it earlier today in practice.
Man. He's got that mentality of like, I want to try the hardest stuff. If it works, I'll be happy. If it doesn't, I'll deal with it.
Now what that is, it's a bike flip, backflip, and as he comes out of it, he does a late tail whip. A tail whip's where you rotate the frame of the bike around you, but the body and the handlebars stay stationary. He's had troubles in Big Air in years past. He got the monkey off his back last year, got a silver medal. Let's see what he can do here tonight in Foz do Iguaçu. Now think of, I mean, you're doing a backflip, throwing the bike around, and then you're trying to whip out of it. This time around, just saying, you know, I'm just going to get the bike flip, backflip out of the way this first run.
With a lot more hair than he's had in the past. It seems like that could affect your rotation with that much hair. Hailing from St. Louis, Missouri, it looks like he should be hanging out there in 1975 at one of those festivals over 4th of July.
So just overshooting the sweet spot right there. But
hey, maybe
trying to put that, dare I use the term, safety run, but thinking, you know what, let's just get the bike flip, backflip down in this first run, then maybe I'll try to throw the late whip out of it last go.
Yeah, and the problem with somewhat safety runs is when they don't work.
So taking a look back 2 years ago, this is the gold medal run from Steve McCann, X Games LA 2011, double front flip into a double tail whip, and then he changed up the line last year to earn 2 golds in a row.
Takes the hands off and goes just a little bit higher this time too on the double whip. So, you know, the progression of Big Air, each year you step it up.
So the question is, what does he bring to the plate here tonight in Foz do Iguaçu?
And I say each year you step it up, a lot of it has to do with how the contest unfolds. If somebody's safety run, as you called it earlier, is good enough to win, sometimes that's what they go with.
All right, Steve McCann coming in for his first of 4. Taking the hands off. So Steve McCann.
It's kind of a surprising fault because it looked really clean to me, and then somehow he got bounced off of it. He might have gapped a little bit too far. I'd like to see, on a replay, let's see if he goes a little bit past the knuckle.
There's the first rotation, then here the cans come off going into the second rotation.
Full extension, and he's, oh, look at this. Yeah, look how far down he traveled. So maybe just, I don't know if he's landing at that same distance every time, but going that little bit extra further could have affected things enough to make him come down a little bit heavy on the front end. And now he's had that problem in the past with the double flip and the no-handed double flip. But with 4 runs, you really only need to pull it once if it's good enough for a medal, or better yet, gold.
That's the beauty of the format. It's the best run that counts. So he'll get 3 more chances at it. So at the end of round 1 of 4 here in the GoPro BMX Big Air Final, it's Vince Byron sitting on top of things with an 89.66. Morgan Wade sitting in second right now with an 89 flat, and Colton Satterfield sitting in third with an 86.33. But this is just round 1 of 4. So we'll go through the lineup 3 more times before we hand out some hardware here tonight in GoPro BMX Big Air. So looking at the top of the GoPro BMX Big Air ramp, there's a shot of the only Brazilian rider in the lineup out of all 4 BMX events out here this weekend, which definitely gets the crowd all pumped up, talking about Douglas Leite. They call him Doug Etch. That's his nickname here. And as we saw in the first round, this guy's all about going big. And in his first ever X Games appearance, no jitters whatsoever, put down a solid run.
Yes, he did. I expect this one to be even better. We'll see. Giant backflip. If he carries the speed through here, just look for him to go high. Yes, that was high.
Boosting.
Oh, he didn't pull it, so I guess technically 21-3. That is huge. It's not quite the record in competition. It's not far from it, though, but you still got to land it for it to count.
Yeah, the record's 21 feet 7 inches from competition, and that was Morgan Wade in 2007.
But that's beautiful nonetheless. Beautiful, high. But when you bottom out on this ramp, and you bottom out. You just, having ridden this size ramp before, when you come out a little from coping, you just drop, drop, and drop. It's an unnatural feeling to fall that far before you actually land.
Yeah, you can see from that vantage point too, the back end just came around just a little too much. But again, he's still got 2 more runs to go. 8 riders in the lineup. 4 runs, it's the best run that counts. We're at the top of round number 2. And that man right there.
Solid run. He's in third right now, but I don't think these scores are going to stick when you look at the top 4 guys coming into this.
And this is Colton Satterfield. As you mentioned, he was in 3rd position coming into this round.
Bar spin to tail whip on a backflip, and then huge double whip. That's going to bump his score up without a doubt.
Well, he had an 86.33 from his first round.
Well, I say without a doubt, his first run was pretty darn technical too, but check that out. A bar spin in a flip, and then you throw a late tail whip. That's going to be rewarded for its difficulty. His first run, he had a no-handed flip 360, which is also very difficult.
See where his right foot landed? He wasn't even on the pedal, it was on the crank arm.
In real time, it looked really clean, but...
So, with the double whip there in the quarter pipe.
And he landed a little low, so I'll back off a little. I do think this will score higher than his first run, but it might necessarily bump up real high. It's how clean you ride, it's how high you go, it's a number of factors put together.
I had to correct myself, triple tail whip. That was 3 times around that time around the quarter pipe, and that'll bump him up to 87. So he stays in third, but he bumps the score up to an 87 flat. Morgan Wade due up next, and he's currently sitting in second place with an 89 flat. Morgan was boosting in that first round. And again, he holds the record for the biggest air at the X Games in competition.
Once again, picture perfect. Look how slow that double whip was. That was beautiful. It's
just a nice smooth rotation on that and a clean landing.
And he struggled with that. He struggled with that trick in the past, so to see him just nail it so perfectly.
That was 18 feet 7 inches tall. Look at this. Look how casual he's flowing through the air on this.
Yeah, it's with a ramp this size. I mean, when you see somebody triple whip, that bike is spinning around fast, and a double whip now almost looks as slow as a single whip used to on a vert ramp. He's all smiles, and for good reason.
Well, he's got 2 great, look at it, he creeps into the 90s there at 90.33, and what he's done now, he's overtaken the top spot, so he's bumped Vince Byron down to second now. So Morgan Wade has cracked into the 90s there with 2 great runs out of him out here tonight. And speaking of Vince Byron, he's due up next. There's a shot of him there at the top of the Big Air ramp. He's been bumped down to second there with an 89.66. He got a silver medal in this event 2 years ago in LA, and here he is for round 2.
Oh my goodness, he's over-rotating that bad, but he's still pulling it, and 540s on this ramp are no joke.
And took the hands off in the rotation. Maybe not as far as he would have liked to, but look at how far he over-rotates this, going over the gap.
Wow, yeah.
Did you see the left hand almost slip
Yeah,
off the grip? I don't know how he hung on to this.
It's wild. He practically nose bonks coming in off of it here.
And he's doing this over the bigger of the two gaps. The smaller one's 50 feet, that bigger one's 65 feet. And that angle right there really shows you how much he over-rotated that, but still hangs on to it. So he takes the top spot again, a full point ahead of Morgan Wade there. So Vince Byron back on top now with a 91.33.
And again, this is such a tricky event to judge. I mean, Morgan Wade just seems dialed tonight, like riding to perfection. Tricks aren't as technical, but you've got to balance that with just how clean he's riding.
Here we go with run number 2 for Chad Kagy. It's that cliffhanger flip in this time around.
And it was clean, and a massive tail whip flare. That's like very good chance that that's going to score real high.
If you weren't with us for round 1, he fell. He over-rotated the cliffhanger backflip. So this is definitely going to be a score improvement for Chad.
Yeah, it went from over-rotating to pulling about as clean as it could be pulled. Crazy full extension there. Spent 3.5 weeks in New Zealand recently.
And then look at the height factor right here on the tail whip flare.
And that, oh man, if this was a vert ramp, he would have gotten so much speed to pump to go up the next wall. They're going to reward that for being technical, big, and clean. It had everything you want to see in a run.
I didn't get a chance to see the height on that flare whip. But again, this is a guy that got no practice. It took him 52 hours to get here. We talked about this earlier.
Should be better than 70.
You hear him say right here, I should be better than 70. Yeah,
he's gonna bump his other score. I think he's gonna top his other score.
Well, the top mark to beat is a 91.3. He gets a 92.66. So the judges are obviously feeling Chad Kagy out here tonight. So he jumps to the top of things here in round number 2. 3 riders left to go here. And we keep talking about how only 3 guys have ever taken a gold medal in the 7-year history of this event. There's the stats on them right there. Kevin Robinson took the first 2, then Chad, Kevin again, Chad again, and then Steve McCann's got the last 2. So the question is, will one of these 3 guys add another one here tonight, or will we see somebody else standing on the tallest spot of the podium here at GoPro BMX Big Air?
Well, we're going to find out more here soon. We're early in this competition still, but Chad put down a run that could win it. But these guys all have something to say about it.
Kevin with a massive
easy.
no-handed flare.
That was a pretty harsh.
Kevin over-rotating that one.
He carried so much speed off the flip. When I mentioned before, he'll take off from one side and travel laterally across the ramp on his backflip to maximize the amount of speed he can get, because Kevin's known for going real big on Big Air. That's exactly what he did on that no-handed flare.
We have some of the best medical staff in the business out here at the X Games. Of course, X Games Medical out there attending to Kevin Robinson right now. So going for a huge no-handed flare. We'll take a quick break here. We'll update you on Kevin Robinson's status when we come back. We've got more GoPro BMX Big Air Final when we come back. Welcome back to Foz do Iguaçu, Brazil. It's the GoPro BMX Big Air Final. We are in the latter half of round number 2 of 4 here in the final. And here's what happened right before we went to break. Kevin Robinson over-rotating a no-handed flare.
Yeah, there's no way around that. That was just a really harsh impact. It was so high. Full extension. And when you over-rotate, and land that low, it's going to be an impact. But that's the best part of the night.
Yeah, as you see him being carted off by X Games Medical, he does put the hand up to let the crowd know, hey, I'm good. In the meantime, let's check in right now with a report on Kevin with Jordan Whitley.
Well, guys, X Games Medical was attending to him. He was conscious and responsive, and as you said, he lifted up that left thumb to give the thumbs up to the crowd that he's going to be okay, but they're taking him away for further examination.
Well, that's a good sign to see Kevin giving that thumbs up as they as the medical carries him off the ramp there. But a massive no-handed flare. I mean, the height factor was there, but that's what happens.
Yeah,
on that 27-foot quarter pipe.
over-rotating, he landed low, and you know, sometimes transitions at this size, you can get away with what would be a low landing, and you still have plenty of ramp. But when you land that low from that high, it's going to be a harsh landing.
Well, you heard Zack Warden say, "Miss you, buddy," and you see that sticker on the crossbar of his handlebars, #MadDog, talking about Brett Banasewicz, who went down, BMX rider went down with injury at the end of last year. So Zack Warden representing for Brett Banasewicz. Hopefully we see Brett back in the lineup here in the near future. But Chad Kagy sitting on top of things right now here in round number 2 with a 92.66. Vince Byron was in the lead earlier, got bumped down to second by Morgan Wade. Then Vince retook the lead. So now Vince sitting in second again, Morgan Wade sitting in third, but you see there at the bottom of the leaderboard, Steve McCann and Zack Warden still have their second runs to go here. Remember, it's the best run of 4 out here tonight, so once we get through the second round, we get to do it 2 more times here, and we'll see who's walking away with some X Games GoPro Big Air hardware from Foz de Iguaçu.
Yeah, it's going to get mixed up still. You got the guys that were first and second last year sitting in 7th and 8th today. Each of them with 3 runs left. So
we were talking about this earlier. Steve McCann's got gold medals at the last 2 from LA, and it came down to his last run. Speaking of which, last year, Zack Warden was in the lead. A lot of people thought Zack was going to walk away with a gold medal, but then Steve McCann came out and threw down that no-handed double front flip, the double tail whip on the quarter pipe, and he edged Zack out. But Zack, walking away with a silver medal last year, kind of got that competition monkey off of his back. So you see Zack getting set to take his second run here. Let's take a look right now at the GoPro course preview here, courtesy of Steve McCann.
Welcome to X Games Brazil. I'm Steve McCann, and this is your GoPro course preview for MegaRamp.
McCann dropping in 3, 2, 1.
a really big hill. You drop into a massive hill, and then you do something really rad.
And look at that, super slow-mo.
Superman C grab, full extension. I don't think he usually says woohoo.
Big old
Check this one out, into the quarter pipe, boosting a massive air.
McCann's coming up for one more, guys.
And then manualing back to the elevator to take it over it once again. Looks like an X up to turn down backflip.
And this is one of my favorite shots right here. Again, into the quarter pipe. That's what it looks like to do a tail whip off of a 27-foot tall quarter pipe.
Yeah, buddy. That's how we do it.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. Courtesy of GoPro there. Your
He's
course
having
preview.
fun. That's the most important thing here. Have fun, you know? Have fun with it. It's people doing massive things on massive ramps. And yes, it's dangerous, but if you're out there doing what you love to do, chances are the outcome's going to.
So here we go. Zack Warden coming in, currently sitting in 8th place. This is run 2 of 4 for Zack Warden.
That,
Hangs on to it.
I was about to say, that looks clean.
And there's the triple tail whip.
yeah. Oh, that's a bummer for Zack because he got a little bit squirrely in that landing, but that looked picture perfect. Back flip, bike flip, but over the 64-foot gap, and then a triple whip, and had he ridden out of that, you know, that's probably the run he's looking to hit.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this trick right here, and he kind of Wilsons out a little bit when he lands.
He's trying to
the
one up
sweet
that in
spot a little
practice
bit
too, but you see something that looks really clean, and then you see it in slow-mo, and they get a little bit squirrely, but that's just the nature of big air. I mean, you are hauling.
And then right here into the quarter pipe with the triple tail whip, 3 revolutions of the frame of the bike, and he lands it, and he's got it to the very end.
And to the
the
viewers
feet
out
slipped
there,
off the pedals.
and to the viewer, hey, that's an extra 2 rotations, 720 at the end. That would be the first ever triple tail whip 900. I'm being a little sarcastic, but by the time he slid to a stop, that's what that trick was.
So he gets a 78.66 that go around. That's going to bump him up just a little bit. And he's got a long elevator ride back to the top to think about that one. And he's still got 2 more runs.
And watch
left to
Stevie,
go.
he may do a double whip, he may do a triple whip, he may do a different trick altogether, but you just want to watch how many times the frame passes kind of underneath you. Massive, oh, this time he under-rotated.
So we've seen the over-rotation the first time around, now the under-rotation.
Yeah, it's
This is kind of shaping up like last year in Los Angeles, having some troubles in the early rounds.
yeah, he under-rotated this a lot, and he didn't take the hands off. I don't know if he intended to. He might have gone back to like what he felt was a safer run. Now you average the scores of the judges. It's too bad you can't average the 2 landings, or he'd have 2 perfect landings if you could take his over-rotated version with his under-rotated version.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
I can have some fun with it. He slid out to safety, and I'm friends with all these guys.
He was in. When you see him in that slow motion shot, he was in a wild position as he came around that last part of the rotation and just ended up sliding out on that one.
It could be playing it into his head because this has happened in years past where he over-rotates a trick. Yeah, he lands real front heavy. Just the nature of the trick, you're rotating twice in a front flip. It's not the most natural rotation. So maybe he consciously made an effort to slow it down a little, and he slowed it down too much.
2 runs down, 2 more rounds to go. We go back up to the top of the order with the only Brazilian in the lineup. They call him Doug Etch. This is Doug Leite.
And they call him Dougie Fresh when he visits the States, and this is going to be a throwout run for him.
Well, for your first ever X Games, he's not in a bad spot. He's sitting in 5th position right now. The first run score of 82.33. So maybe the nerves starting to play in a little bit.
I found it really weird that one of his nicknames is Dougie Fresh, and when we got an update of how far we were, it was 6 minutes till we were on. Some people might get that reference.
So we go back up to the top here with Colton Satterfield. Now Colton sitting in 4th. He's 1 spot out of a medal right now. Let's see what he can put down here in this 3rd run.
To me, oh my God, and that was so clean. That is, I feel for Colton.
After the Barspin double tailwhip, and then you go down.
That was arguably the most impressive jump we've ever seen over this.
And he knows it. Look at that body language there.
You got to realize he's doing a bar spin flip is tough enough as it is. And then a double whip. And then he lands it absolutely perfect. We'll see on the replay if, well, actually he lands.
Well, he was on the crank arm again.
It was fast. The landing's fast, it's clean. You know, you give a little leeway on a big air ramp. You're traveling such fast speed, but unfortunately for Colton, then he crashes a double whip over the quarter, which I know he's done so many times. And he knows he can pull that trick now, but it's unfortunate that he didn't link it together when it counted.
Well, he's still got 1 more run in round number 4, but I mean, he put that down so smooth on that bar spin, backflip, double tail whip. It doesn't matter that the feet were on the crank arms. I mean, it was smooth, and at real-time speed, it looked perfect.
And I would gather that back when there were more BMX video games, that trick was probably left out as unrealistic for a video game. And now, it just happened.
Well, Morgan Wade in round 2 jumped up into the 90s. He's currently sitting in a bronze medal position here. His best run was at 90.33. Let's see what we can add here in round number 3.
Look at that, just stretch no-handed backflip.
Look at the speed.
What?
Oh! Just comes in a little under-rotated, slides that one out.
Wait, and the viewers need to watch in these replays so they can see the difference between, obviously we're not seeing any single whips here, but you're gonna see some double whips, and you're gonna see some triple whips.
He held that out as long as you possibly can there on the no-handed flip.
And even for people that ride, that see this stuff all the time, sometimes these things go by so quickly, but try to follow how many times the bike rotates underneath the rider, or it's not even always underneath anymore as much as it is away from the rider. But here you go, 1 whip, 2 whip,
3 times
going around for a triple whip, and had he pulled that, I think Morgan would have been seeing his first podium in this event.
Well, he was almost in podium contention prior. He was
still
in 3rd.
Still going to stay where he was, but he's riding unbelievably well tonight.
You're clear, Vince.
And Morgan's a rider's rider. I think many people out there root for him.
All right, this is round number 3 for Vince Byron, currently sitting in 2nd.
There it is again, Oppo, double downside whip 3. And kind of an invert on the flare there, casual invert.
Changes up the lineup a little bit. We saw the big flare this time around throwing an invert into the mix. So round 2 was his best score, the 91.33.
And I said kind of an invert on a flare, the axis that you're traveling in, you're not technically inverted, but you're throwing what would be an invert. And right there, much cleaner this time.
I was gonna say that's the best one of the 3 that we've seen him do out here tonight.
Yeah, you see he gets tweaked over like he's doing an invert on a normal air, but because he's upside down when he does it, it's more of an in-over. I've never even said that. I just invented a new word on air. An in-over flare.
Run 395.
So he'll get a 91 for that run, so he's gonna stick with that 2nd run score. I thought he pulled the gap trick cleaner that time around. That's gonna bring up Chad Kagy. So let's take a look back at Chad's first 2 runs here in this comp. The first one, he over-rotates the cliffhanger flip. Then comes back here in round 2 and gets redemption.
Yeah, he landed it much, much cleaner. Seeing it in real time, it looked as clean as it could possibly be. But again, on the big air ramp, just a tiny bit of overshooting comes in. But that, yeah, that's about as clean as you can plan that trick to be. And that was beautiful.
And massive height as well. And this is all coming from a guy that got no practice except for a little bit earlier today after a 52-hour journey just to get down here to Foz de Iguaçu.
Hey, sometimes you pull something perfect in practice, and you're like, I wish that was the one. I wish I'd have saved that one for the run. So maybe the lack of practice, he's nailing the ones that he would have done in practice.
Well, now that he's got one under the belt and he's sitting in the top position, what does he add to the mix here?
Knowing Chad, I have no idea.
Well, we're going to find out here at round 3 for Chad Kagy. Double backflip.
Big double flip, got a little squirrely, but recovered nicely. And that's still pretty high. That's a big high flare.
That's pretty impressive considering the right foot slipped the pedals and he lost some speed going into that.
Yeah, and he didn't have a tail whip on the flare this time around, but.
Well, it was 12 foot 7 inches on the height meter on the quarter pipe. Look at that, 2 times around in the backflip.
Almost
guys, this
going a little too far.
That
but
almost came around a little too much.
Slips a little bit of a pedal, but recovers enough to just throw in. Look at Kagy's flare technique. He does almost a flat spin sort of flare. He turns his back to the coping, like right off the lip.
And the other thing
allows
too
him to
is
spot the landing.
where he puts the back tire on the ramp. Good clean landing. However, that's not going to best that first run score. He's got 2 scores in the 90s, but he's going to stick with that second round score. 92.66 for Chad here in round number 3 of 4. So now back to Zack Warden here. Zack sitting down at 7th. We saw him do it last year in Los Angeles. He wants to get it done here in Foz de Iguaçu.
Using the long gap again. Come on, Zack. Oh, that was clean.
Here we go to the quarter. Once, twice, 3 times around. Hang on, Zack.
Oh, man. This is going to be this is going to be a big score. That's how much I'll go out on a limb. This is going to be a big score.
It was almost good enough for a gold medal in LA back in June of 2012.
And you know what? He's the only guy messing around with this trick. A bike flip, back flip. And look how this, he's still getting a little bit, that's about as clean as you can hope for.
I mean, when you're flipping the bike around in the middle of a backflip, I don't think it gets much cleaner than that.
Well, you got to realize what's key is you have to land clean enough to get the speed to do what you want to do on the quarter pipe. And what you want to do on the quarter pipe is a triple whip you hope to be hauling.
Taking a look at the quarter pipe triple whip here one more time.
3. By the time the third one comes around, the bike is almost separated from the rider so much that, if you watch the motion of a rider's wrists and shoulders, you can get a better idea of just how many whips.
Well, what's it going to be? 93.66. He's on top of the leaderboard here in round 3, and Jordan Whitley is down there with him right now.
You landed it for the first time tonight, putting yourself on top. Just how difficult was that run to execute for you?
It's always a crapshoot coming out here with MegaRamp, and I really just want to send a big shout out to Kevin Robinson. That was a really hard crash, and I'm really happy to see that he was able to be responsive. And let's just all keep him in our thoughts for tonight.
Now we're going to take a quick look at the run you had. Can you just tell us what you see right here?
Well, that's my backflip bike flip, but I got a little sideways at the landing, but I'll take it. And it took away from a little bit of height on the quarter pipe, but we got a couple more runs, so let's see what happens.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, he's got one more run, but the question is now that he's got the bike flip, backflip run underway, does he try to add that new element that we saw him trying earlier in practice where he throws a tail whip out of it at the last
I
bit?
think so. The only thing he could do is maybe try to do that cleaner so he goes a little higher on the triple whip. And personally, it looked high to me. And I think you're better off just trying something different. But I love the fact he called it a crapshoot because it seems that way a lot of times.
Last guy in the run order here for round 3, Steve McCann.
Speaking of crapshoot, I was about to say yay, Steve. I mean, it looked like he landed that so perfect, but the front heavy landing, when you're coming around on a double front flip like that, it bounced his wrist like off of the grip. His hand slipped. You see the impact. If we see that in a replay, I think everyone will agree. It looked like it was picture perfect, and then hands come off the grips and you're done.
Can't tell if it's it looks like it's the right wrist that's giving him troubles there, but We're pretty much right where we left off last year in Los Angeles. Zack Warden sitting on top of things with one more round to go with that bike flip, back flip to triple tail whip. Take a look at
no-handed, got
Steve
the
here
extension.
again.
Looks like a good landing, and man, you gotta wonder, are his gloves sweaty? Like, I don't run with gloves, and you're constantly wiping your hands off when you're on the vert ramp.
Well, here's a different shot at it right here. Maybe this will tell the story of what happened.
If it's this humid out, you know, your gloves can be drenched too. I'm sure he has plenty of pairs to change into, but I would not doubt it if he just. Look,
Well, that right hand just slips off the grip.
Yeah, when you come down with that kind of force on a double front flip and your gloves are a little bit sweaty, it happens.
So tough break there for Steve. So let's check in one more time with Jordan Whitley.
All right, well, you're standing up, but you look like you're wincing a little bit of pain. What happened out there?
Yeah, I just over-rotated a little bit, and basically all my weight went into my hand. As you can tell, it's pretty sore. So just see how we go. I never give up. I feel like I've been in this position 2 years in a row, so here we go again.
Thanks so much, guys.
He just took the words right out of my mouth. Here we go again. We saw it in 2011, 2012, and now in 2013 down here in Brazil. We're right where we left off last summer.
Yeah, you said, I feel like I've been in this position 2 years in a row. There's a reason you feel that way. You were. And you came through with golds both times, so it's definitely going to, and he'll be the last rider to go, so it's going to make for an exciting end to this event for sure.
So we are in the fourth and final round here. One more time around for our only Brazilian BMX competitor. This is Douglas Leite.
Another big backflip. See if he lands with good speed. This is going to be high.
Look how fast he's
That
going.
was huge. 22 feet 1 inch. That should be, we'll make it official here soon, but that would be the highest ever in X Games Big Air competition during the competition, and it's held by a Brazilian in Brazil.
Well, the Brazilian fans were definitely loving that. Morgan Wade, 21 feet 7 inches back in 2007. That's in competition. But look at this.
Hey, this is a half a foot higher. And the way Morgan's riding today, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and tops this. But this is this guy's moment. That is huge. I think that's going to be the highest air we see of the night, maybe for quite a while, because Morgan's record is held for quite some time.
And the Brazilians are loving it here in Foz. His best run prior to that was his first run with an 82.33. Look at everybody going crazy down there.
Yeah, this isn't about whether he medals or not. This is about he holds the highest air in X Games Big Air competition. And he's from Brazil. And
I don't know if the fans out there even know that fact yet. They're just excited that one of their own is out here in the competition.
And he did better his score. And look at, no kidding.
He hangs on to it, but unfortunately that killed on the speed there for Colton Satterfield.
Well, he went for the same trick. He pulled it, didn't pull it clean enough. Looked like he maybe bar spun a tiny bit early. Who knows, we all do them differently. But didn't get quite the height he did the last time, and that, he came up a little short, bounced off the knuckle. And that's not gonna give you the speed you need to pull a triple whip, that's for sure.
So Douglas actually got his best score of the night with an 87.33 there in that last run. It doesn't move him up any in the position, he's still in fifth.
It was stylish too. It was a picture-perfect invert. Sometimes you do a big air and it comes in an awkward moment. I once did a high air for the weekend, won a high air comp with maybe the ugliest air of my life. So to see it stylish like that.
Well, we talked about maybe that high air being one-upped. This could be the guy that does it. Morgan Wade held the record prior to what we just saw out of Douglas Leite.
And if he lands this smooth, we'll see what he has planned, but I think he's going for a whip variation.
Absolutely clean.
That was
about
about
20 feet high.
Oh my
That was
goodness.
20 feet high.
I'm looking forward to seeing this replay. First off, he picture perfect no-handed flip over the gap. But this is what Morgan Wade, it's becoming a specialty for him. Everything held, full extension.
And look how long he holds it.
He's getting so comfortable with MegaRamp. He's the one guy that just seems like he lands everything perfectly clean. One, two. This is unbelievable. I mean, he landed that. He landed this massive triple whip. 1, 2, 3. Comes in, clean as can be.
And at 20 feet high.
This is when you wish there was another quarter pipe on the other side of that, like a vert ramp, because he would have gone 25 on the next wall.
Well, He's one spot out of a podium finish here. His best run was a 90.33. That was run number 2.
It's his first ever triple whip, and he did it at 20 feet. Nice way to practice it, Morgan. Oh, I don't even want to go there. I don't know where this is going to score. That was, the no-handed flip was, it's a no-handed flip. There's harder tricks, but bumps him into
gets a
podium
92,
position.
so he'll jump up into the top 3. That'll put him in a bronze medal position. So your top 3 now, Zack Warden, Chad Kagy, Morgan Wade, and Vince Byron, who's due up next, has been bumped out of the top 3. Vince now sits in 4th with a 91.33 from round number 2.
Yeah, and I can't emphasize enough what a tough event this would be to judge, because like it's a no-handed flip, Morgan's done enough of them. They know it's not the highest difficulty, but he did it perfect, and the highest triple whip ever. And now, here's Vince Byron. Oh, not gonna work out.
So Vince not gonna be able to jump up and jump into the podium, so the best he could hope for here tonight is a 4th place finish. So ESPN and ESPN2 have full day coverage of X Games tomorrow, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern with BMX Park, Skateboard Vert, Men's Street League Skateboarding, and Skateboard Vert. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, it's the finals of Moto X Speed and Style and BMX Dirt. Check it out tomorrow. Both can be seen on Watch ESPN as well. You see Morgan Wade having a chat there with Vince Byron. So Morgan at this point hoping to walk out of here with a bronze medal.
Freaked out.
Did you hear him? I freaked out. And rightly so. That's a 20-foot high triple tail whip.
And it was pulled so clean. Pulled so clean.
So before we see Chad's next run, let's check in one more time with Jordan Whitley, who has an update on Kevin Robinson.
Thanks, guys. Well, we just got official word. Kevin, of course, has been moved for further evaluation for a head injury. They said he is conscious and moving.
Well, again, it's a good sign. You hate to see these guys go down, but when you see Kevin, you know, with the thumbs up, it's always a good sign.
Yeah, Kevin's been in this situation many times, and he knows exactly how to deal with it.
And taking another look at what happened to him in round number 2.
Cleared the 5-meter mark.
A great no-handed flare. I mean, huge.
But see what happens when you bottom out and over-rotate. You know, the over-rotation's worse and doesn't make for the friendliest impact.
And then you see him as he was being taken off the ramp by X Games Medical, giving the thumbs up. So wish Kevin a speedy recovery. So now, Chad Kagy, he was in that top spot, but then Zack Warden had something to say about that. So Chad now sitting in a silver medal position. What do we see out of Chad Kagy here in this 4th and final run, Dennis?
Craziness.
Maybe the no-handed double backflip?
That's what I was going to say. I know that he's done these on the Nitro Circus Racing, and there you go.
Well, I tell you what,
He's
gonna have to bail out of a double
but
backflip. That's the cleanest way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because that could go wrong in a hurry.
It's got to feel like a successful night for Chad Kagy. He's not going to go home with a gold medal, but hey, when you come out uninjured, and he will be on the podium.
Well, yeah, he's assured a medal here tonight. At the very least, he could walk out of here with a bronze.
Something tells me, even though right here he knows he's not going to pull it, he's having more fun than he did on his layover. Even at that moment.
He's thinking, you know what? After 52 hours of messing around in airplanes and airports, I'm sending it regardless. Hey, after all that, no practice, you're still getting a medal. Not a bad weekend in Brazil.
No, not at all. And it's not over for him either. He'll be competing in Vert tomorrow, so it's good to see that he's coming out of here healthy.
You'll see him tomorrow. So now it all comes down to these last 2 guys, and I'm going to say it again. We're picking up right where we left off last year in Los Angeles. That is Zack Warden. He is currently your leader with a 93.66. He thought he had a gold medal in his grasp last summer, had to settle for silver. Is he going to bump it up here in this last run?
Backflip, backflip,
Throw the tail whip. Oh!
Almost. Hey, that was a good attempt. And there's no other way around it there. He's pulled a really solid run. It's time to pull your dream run.
And that was the cleanest attempt that we had seen out of the practice footage that we saw earlier today. But I mean, he's a big smile on his face, and rightly so.
But, you know, yeah, that crazy trick. bike flip, back flip, late tail whip. Realize he's also competing in vert tomorrow. So some people might think, hey, that run was good. I'm just gonna, pull something I know I'm gonna land and go to vert healthy. But that is not Zack Warden's frame of mind.
So close to pulling that one off. And again, he is your current leader, so it all comes down to this last run. Zack's third run is a 93.66, so we're picking up where we left off the last 2 years in a row. Can Steve McCann get it done? Here's what's happened the first 3 times. That was the last run that we saw.
Yeah, just by nature of that trick, he lands front heavy and over rotates. The one time he slowed it down, he under rotated a lot. And in all cases, if you don't pull what's going on over the jump, you don't get to show anything off on the pull.
So this is the one where the right hand slipped off the grip and just dumps him over the bars and ended up tweaking his right wrist a little bit there.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder, do you go with the same trick now? I mean, if it's something that's going to land real hard on your wrist, maybe you mix it up and do something entirely different over the jump.
Well, it's worked for him the last 2 years in a row.
And he is the type of person that's going to be going for the win here. I mean, you could decide, like, maybe I'll do a run that'll bump me up from where I'm at now, but I expect him to send it.
And here we go. It all comes down to this last run. Gets the hands off, puts it down.
Oh, no. I spoke too soon. It looked like he had it, and then, again, the nature of Big Air.
Gets thrown off the bike on that one as well.
Oh my God.
Zack Warden.
Zack
Gonna walk out of here with a gold medal.
Yes, he is. And he can afford the haircut for sure. The prize money should be able to.
He was celebrating with bated breath there because the first reaction was not about the gold. He was looking over to make sure that Steve McCann was okay. That's the camaraderie that these guys have.
I think he saw enough of that crash to know that we're confident Steve's going to be fine from this. Never can be too confident, but the nature in which he fell, it looked like that trick was landed and he was on to doing something massive on the quarter pipe, but there is a randomness to riding that sometimes you can be feeling as prepared as ever and things don't go your way. Other times you're totally unprepared and everything works to perfection.
Well, another thing that's worth mentioning, we talked about him dinging his wrist in that third run, but he also has have little problems with the left foot out here this weekend. Yeah. So that could have been a factor as well.
Sometimes you lean heavy on one body part because the other part's sore. And I kid Zack about the haircut. I think it looks really cool. It's almost like a Viking. A Viking just won gold in Big Air.
So let's see where it went wrong here. Gets the hands off in the double front.
Thought he had it.
That right hand again.
Look at that.
It was that right hand again coming off the grip.
Yeah, and then it, Big Air is big speed. So when you get sent off your bike, you get sent.
He's up and okay and waving to the crowd, so that's a good sign. But let's check in now with Jordan Whitley, who's down with Zack Warden.
Zack, you've been in this for so long, and you finally get your first gold here. What is going through your mind right now?
The last time I came close to getting a gold medal was here in Sao Paulo, Brazil in 2008, and I'm just so incredibly to come back to this wonderful country and just get my redemption a little bit. It feels so good. I'm really happy to see McCann up and walking around. That looked like a horrible slam. I really just want everyone to keep all the people that fell tonight in their thoughts, especially K-Rob.
Getting a quick fist bump from Stevie. Now, just got to ask you about this field. Everybody put their heart out on the line. How were they pushing you to be able to accomplish what you did?
It's just one of those things. We're all friends out here, and none of us want to see another rider go down. We hang out. McCann, K-Rob, they help me move to Woodward. Every single person here is like a family member to me, and anytime we can walk away with everyone being conscious and happy, it feels like we all won. And to stand on top of a podium, it still hasn't sunk in yet. I really don't know what it feels like.
Well, we'll let you celebrate. Back to you guys.
So congratulations going out there to Zack Warden. Got his first X Games medal last year, taking home the silver in BMX Big Air. But tonight takes home the gold here in Foz do Iguaçu.
Well deserved.
It was run number 3 that got it done. The bike flip, back flip into the triple tail whip.
Yes.
And almost landing a brand new trick in his fourth run, though. I don't want to downplay that bike flip, back flip to last minute tail whip right there. But Chad Kagy walking away with a silver medal here. And how about Morgan Wade walking away with his first Big Air medal?
Congrats to Morgan.
For continued coverage of X Games Foz do Iguaçu, log on to xgames.com. Join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN for continued X Games coverage starting with BMX Freestyle Park. Thank you for joining us. So long from Foz do Iguaçu.